Think of Patek Philippe and you think of watches like the Nautilus, the perpetual chronograph and the Calatrava. But did you know that the Golden Ellipse was the second oldest collection by Patek after the Calatrava in 1932? Did you know that Patek made magic happen and created the first blue 18K gold dial for the Ellipse collection? I'm Felix from Gold Amber Vintage Watches, and in today's video we will answer all this and other questions and show you that the perfect circle is an ellipse. So let's check the intro and get into today's video. Founded in 1839 by two Polish expats, Patek Philippe is known for superb craftsmanship and some of the most complicated timepieces ever created. And the brand is considered by many to be the high of fine watchmaking. If you spend time in the broad world of watch collecting, you'll recognize certain tastes come and go. Very often they bubble up when you least expect it. For example, the recent popularity of the Nautilus is a great example of this. But the real knack is in spotting the sleeping giants, those underrated models that are punching well above their price tag. And the Golden Ellipse is definitely one of those giants. First launched in 1968, it was an instant icon in changing world with its divine proportions. The watch industry was about to experience its own revolution as quartz was just around the corner, and in contrast to a lot of other brands, Patek Philippe was well aware of the potential impact ahead. So the brand needed a new watch design that was both immediately recognizable as a Patek and unisex in its appeal. The company also needed a watch that represented true luxury, something that would at a glance be distinguishable from any other watch. Advances in mass production meant that during the 60s it was easier for cheaply produced watches to imitate the look of a high-class timepiece. And in fact, the launch of the first Ellipse in 1968 couldn't have come at a better time. It was immediately noted as forward-looking and classic at the same time, while in a league of luxury not seen in the watch industry. But who was responsible for the Golden Ellipse design? It has been discussed a lot in the past, but there are two main opinions. It is generally recognized that Jean-Daniel Rubelli, who was then Patek's in-house stylist, was inspired by the golden section discovered by the ancient Greek mathematicians, and thus created the iconic design. However, Jean-Pierre Frattini, who at the time was a young casemaker at Patek, recalled that Georges Delessert, the then director of electronics department, was inspired to create the radical case design by the pleasing shape of an American highway junction seen from the window of an airplane. Whether it inspired by divine proportion or an American highway system, the Ellipse was a very important watch for Patek as its marked an important shift in manufacturing practice. Like most other watchmakers since the 18th century, it was completely normal to hire case makers for designs and then make a selection. The birds of the Ellipse were the complete opposite. Patek designed the Ellipse internally and then briefed the casemaker to produce it. One might be tempted to think that designing a time-only two-handed watch is easy. After all, there aren't any other functions or displays to worry about, right? Quite the contrary. It's actually even harder to design compared to a complicated watch, as you have absolutely nothing to hide behind. What really makes the Golden Ellipse stand out from the rest is its unique elliptical, not quite round, not quite rectangular shape. At the time, the market had never seen anything like it, and it was this distinctiveness that quickly turned the model into a cult classic. During the 1970s, it fast became the symbol of international chic. It was a timepiece the jet set had been waiting for and became a must-have on the wrist of the best-dressed man or woman of the time. And the Ellipse represented the ultimate icon of success and welcomed the wearer into an exclusive club, the club of owning a Patek Philippe. And when it was born in '68, the style of the Ellipse has evolved over the years. At its peak in the 1970s, Patek had over 65 different versions out on the market, meaning that there was something to suit everyone's taste. Models included a Nautilus version, several highly jeweled lady models, and some unusual dial colors. Even Queen Elizabeth was photographed in 1984 wearing a beautiful reference 4975 in white gold and diamond bezel. Like I told you in the intro, the eye-catching cobalt blue dial was another revolutionary step for the company. It was something no one had ever seen before. 18K blue gold. By the beginning of the 1960s, Patek started to test the realms of alchemy by altering the very nature of gold itself. It's experimented relentlessly with all types of gold until it really did create something new. Blued gold. The first attempt used the galvanic bath technique. Basically, electroplating an 18K gold dial. Unfortunately, the results were uneven, with some dials even showing tints of brown. The final solution came with the help of the dial maker Singer that developed a system of vacuum plating in which cobalt and 24K gold are vaporized and then allowed to condense on the 18K gold dial. Another interesting term is the O Swiss O print at the bottom of the dial. But what's the story behind the weird round little marks sometimes found surrounding the Swiss or Swiss-made on watch dials from the 1970s? Those little marks are actually the lowercase Greek letter sigma, and the dials are aptly called sigma dials. There were a few watchmakers who were members of the L'Association pour la Promotion Industrielle du Or, an industry trade association for those making gold watches, which explains why sigma dials cannot be found across all brands. In 1973, the charge was led by the Federation of the Swiss Watch Industry with a clear mission: promote when gold parts were used on a watch to enhance the perceived in-string value of a traditional watch. Our today's piece with the reference 3846 was born in 1983, is crafted in 18K yellow gold and measures 27 mm without chrome, 37 mm from lug to lug and 18 mm between the lugs. Combined with its absolutely slender 6 mm high, the Golden Ellipse becomes the perfect companion for formal events as it slips under the dress cuff with ease. The elegant ellipse form allows the watch to work comfortably and discreetly on the wrist. Under the hood beats a hand-wound Calibre 215 and was designed as a successor for the classic Patek Philippe Calatrava Calibre 12-120. The Calibre 215 is a traditional movement with a classic Patek Philippe look. It includes 5 bridges in the classic configuration, has 18 jewels, 46 hours power reserve, and measures 21 mm in diameter and just 2.5 mm thick. One difference from the tradition is the use of a single bridge over the forced wheel and escapement wheel. The Golden Ellipse is not one of Patek's more popular offerings, but there's no absolute reason why it shouldn't be so. It's definitely one of the most regal, two-handed, time-only watches we've come across. And in a market dominated by round case watches, we think its unique case shape is a breeze of fresh air. As Terry Stern, the president of Patek Philippe, said when celebrating the Ellipse 50th anniversary in 2018, it's one of those watches that shows you how to make a Patek Philippe. No gimmicks, just purity and beauty expressed through simple design. So that's all for today. We hope you enjoyed today's video and collect some information you haven't heard before. So have a great day and hope to see you in our next video.